there is something in the Crypt series called The Mud. And it is, you got a coaster? And it is a very, very critical part of what happens in the series. And since today is International Mud Day, I thought, why not show some delightful puppies playing in the mud? Maybe some mudding in the mud. Maybe some elephants in the mud.
Muddy.
And the most self-satisfied pig I've ever seen in my life. Wait till look at that guy. So fun. And there's an elephant, because, they like mud. But right up here, I think the next one, that is a self-satisfied pig, ladies and
I
gentlemen.
would be exactly as self-satisfied.
It's a very self-satisfied pig. All right, we're going to go to Maine. And the camera's going to be able to screw it. Guys, ready? 3 and 2 and 1. And whoop-ow! That's not too bad.
Hey,
That's
you
not too
guys.
bad. Try not to, if you can, not
Don't
lean on
touch
the table, because I can't brace it. As you may be able to tell, or not, because we're both very short people, we are standing.
We are standing.
We are standing because we have something to show you today that may stagger
Robin
your
Hudson.
imagination and alter your perception of the entire universe, if not question your place in existence. So we have, and let's check out your cam, hun bun. There you go.
I'm standing closer to the screen than he is. I do have a giant head, though. Anyway, I already have a giant head, so there's nothing we can do. Yeah.
Oh, look, so we got, let's see, IDXT_user. If you're a real person, type in the word
FDO.
banana. What?
Oh, yeah, that's fair. He's typing FDO.
I see. I don't know where the F is. There it is. I see it now.
There it is.
Great. Welcome, IDXT_user. He's one of my favorite they are one of my favorite underscores.
Exactly. Well,
I love
me
the
too.
underscores.
Me too. And all you guys, thank you so much. I'm wearing this. This was a gift from my goddaughter, a little tiara. I'll tell you a little bit more about my birthday / our anniversary later in the show. But thank you so much. I did have a great birthday yesterday. I also, Robin Hudson, I have a friend from childhood, and that is the text we send each other. Hippo birdie to use. Hippo birdie to use every birthday. It's very fun.
Ladies and gentlemen, if anybody's seeing staggering or stuttering, please let us know. We've been working on that problem all week long. We had a tough time with it last time. So if you are, that seems to be going okay. Do you know why that was stuck on that image?
Sometimes when I call it up right when it starts, it does that, and I always
cool.
refresh. I think it's a me thing.
All right, so here's what we've got going down today. This may not be a full hour. I don't know. But I got a couple of things. Excuse me while I whips this out. I got a couple of things to show you. We are going to have a reveal of the Lego Crypt made by Chris Grawl. And it's celebratory week here at PUV Empty Set.
Which we just discussed.
one junky picture to show you. I didn't get the dog pictures done in time. Do we have celebrations?
We just, no, we have us to talk about our week this week to talk about.
Other than that, we have an update. I am through 15% through. No, did you write that 15%?
I did. It was
did you
a
calculate
question.
it?
Well, yes, sort of. I was going to ask you about it, and then I forgot. I think he's about 15%
I think
through
about
the second.
8% done through the second draft.
You said 15,000 words.
It's 126,000 words.
Damn it.
Math. So I'm going to say, I'm going to round up to 8% done. And that's all we got, you guys. So without further ado.
It's quite hot in here.
It was a sweltering day in August 1967. And a young lad hailing from Sheboygan,
we're just
Michigan.
Leaning right in.
Young lad hailing from Sheboygan, Michigan, from the wilds, the swampy wilds of the northernmost point of the Lower Peninsula. Went about crafting
Hey, Connie Taylor,
with
nice to see you.
tape and chopsticks and cardboard, a magnificent creation, the likes of which have never been seen. This is my working model of the PUV James Keeling, and I put this together so that I could do this. And anyways, in reality, I'll show you a couple of other props I use if we have time to work on the space battles, because there are not a lot of them, but the ones we have are, well, no, they're pretty good. And I showed this on the SIGLERinPLACE, and I showed it on Facebook. And one of my military advisors mocked it. He mocked it. He said, and I quote, "Cardboard, comma, man, question mark. Cardboard,
Really?
man." And then I'm like, whatever, bro. I think it's great. I think it's
Thank you,
one of the most
Emily.
amazing artworks in the history of mankind. And he said, no, well, let me see what I can do. And then he went crazy on the Legos. Let's bring up the chat a little bit. And now, as we let you see what everybody else is chatting.
Is that making noise?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. But I think if you move off to the side more, that works, or like off by your right ear. Anyways, I digress. So here we go. What we're going to attempt to use time travel. Now what we're going to do is we're going to our new, well, let's go back to main. We have a new camera.
Akil,
We haven't
thanks for
busted
the
this camera
well
out in a long time. Let's go to that scene. This is, you guys feast your eyes looking up my nose.
Oh, cool. Look at this.
Yeah. If I had any boogies, you guys would see them right now. And this is me looking at it. Because what we've done, we've thrown a camera on the phone. Shit.
I sort of feel like I'm behind a news reporter.
I got to turn around.
What's
I
happening?
got to be able to see what I'm showing. So this is, honey, could you pull open that top drawer?
Yes.
And then halfway down the left-hand side is the white tape measure.
Yes.
Okay, here we go. Here comes the good stuff.
Here comes the sun.
32 inches. What I'm about to whip out is 32 inches long. It's girthy, it's rigid, and that's just a pressure hole. That's not me saying anything bad or naughty at all. So here we go back. This is the PUV James Keeling done in Lego by military advisor Chris Grawl.
Just said it's nostril cam.
Yeah. Here comes again. Well, this is a nostril cam. I got to be careful. This will be crotch cam. Now, we're going to do this super slow-mo because I'm bound to break some shit.
Yeah. We're trying real hard not to break some shit.
Turn this into a little handle. Okay, here it is. So from the head. Dun, 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 dun. Top deck. Dun, dun, dun. I didn't hit that note very good. So we're going to turn a little bit. This is an incredibly accurate representation of. Hold on, I've got all kinds.
Can I hold anything?
Not
Do
yet.
anything?
Not yet. Because as soon as we hold it, it's going to break. Tell them it's fragile.
It's fragile, as you guys know, since we were going to show it to you last week, but we had to put the 60 pieces back together.
Here it is from the front.
Can you show whatever's on that door, babe?
No, I can't.
Okay. Do you want me to close that?
I got it.
Okay.
I have a picture of. I have a picture of the Keeling up on the closet wall, except it's got cheat notes on it, and you can't see it. It was ruin everything. So now
it's definitely
what we'll do.
fragile.
This is it's just I can't remember how many pieces he said it is. Chris, if you're in the chat room, let everybody know how many pieces it is. It's awesome and massive, and this is version 2. He kept version 1. He was kind enough to send us version 2. Let's go to main, and now we'll get some size perspective on it. And now he's working on version 3. So what we are possibly doing is he is working on a easily sourceable collection of parts of actual Lego pieces that you could just buy and order, and then he's testing out instructions on how to put the whole thing together. If those things work out, when we launch our new store, we will put those directions up in the store, and I think you're going to have to source your own Legos out. We'll figure how all of that works. But now I'm going to show you guys.
Chris says he has no idea how many pieces there are.
Oh, it's 12. Here we go.
Yeah, Shannon and I agree with you. It's so beautiful, you guys.
It's gorgeous. And this is, let me come back.
Da-dum. It's eating my head.
This is, I won't tell you you know what? Screw you. I'm not telling you any of the parts. You want to know what the parts are? Buy the goddamn book already. Jesus. You guys think I do this for my health? It's amazing. And I should have had a picture of it up, but I don't. So next week we'll show you a picture. But you can see him on Facebook.
If you go to his Facebook page, there's lots of photos from when.
No, I mean a picture of the one from the store.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
Which I can't show you because I don't have anything handy that doesn't have notes on it. But there you go. That is the PUV James Keeling, and that's all you get to know about it. What you think you know about the story, if you listen to the old version, it's possible it's still there. It's possible it's not. John did a great job on doing a continuity edit for me. So that's rolling along. And that is the big reveal. If it is possible, again, we will make this whole kit available for sale. This is super delicate and fragile. It breaks very easily. So Chris is working on a slightly more durable version.
And that one currently has 948 pieces to put in the chat room.
Yes. and since they don't make bricks in the color that the Crypt is, Chris has worked with me to come up with kind of a super cool color scheme. It looks real cool. Then
it is so cool.
The triple plus bonus thing is if we're able to get this thing done, and we're able to get the directions up and able to get like a parts lister and like a link where you could click and just order everything from the Lego providers that would not come through us. He's gonna make a color version, a different colored version. Oh. I won't tell you what colors he's going to use. I don't even know that.
That's cool.
I won't tell you what colors he's going to use, but it's going to be sick like Epicac, man. Coin that phrase.
No, definitely no.
All right, I'm gonna. Here we go. Can you again vamp for a little bit while I put this bad boy away?
Yes, I can. So I would like to tell you guys this coming Saturday, I know there's a graphic for it, but he's going to put this away and be careful so that we're safe with it because we don't want to spend another. We love chatting with Chris, but we don't want to have to put it back together again. This coming Saturday night or afternoon or wherever you are in the world, this coming Saturday, the first Saturday of each month, our good friend Steve the Iceberg Rickyberg hosts a Sigler Junkies happy hour. It starts at 4 p.m. Pacific time. It goes roughly till 11 p.m. Pacific time. He has graciously volunteered to be on that entire, to manage that whole chat. I have missed the last 2 months because we have had things out in the big, wide, scary world to do. This Saturday, it's not that though. This Saturday, I'm not going out of the house at all on Saturday, I don't think. So I will absolutely be there this Saturday. I pop in and out a little bit. Sometimes, like I think there was one time I might have been putting my Christmas tree together and I was there the whole time. I can't remember, but I'm coming this Saturday. So it's super fun regardless. I really enjoy hanging out. I know my friend Maria hangs out too. So sometimes, I don't know if she'll be there this weekend, but if you have never been to the happy hour, it might not last forever, so definitely join us this Saturday.
Maria, the phrase to coin is, man, that's sick like Epicac. That's the new. She has to keep lists. She has a list of all the coined phrases that our company produces.
It's true. Limitless Horizons Limited. Yeah.
So, also, this is usually my downtime, my decompression time, this show.
Yeah.
And I have a couple of soda pops. I have a scotch or two. But as soon as I'm done with the show, I got to go back and write because I didn't hit my writing quota today. Not happy.
We're drinking water.
Not happy.
Because, we're a team, so we do it together. And if he has to go back to work, I'm going to go back to work a little bit after the show. But I am definitely having a couple soda pops on Saturday.
Howard Dinatelli says, that's sick like a bottle of Epicac. Does sound like Chick McGee. It's very good. All right.
Stephen King, Maria's partner, just added in the chat room, she has to keep a list. I agree with you, Stephen. Maybe not has to.
Dude, you have to document these things for history. You can't just leave this to the Library of Congress. Somebody's got to be active.
This water it's an absolute carafe, John. It's a carafe. It's not a bong.
It's not a bong.
It's normal.
It's not a bong, John Bivens. It's not a bong. All right, so let's see where we are on the screen. Oh, we've got one junkie picture to show you, I guess, today. And it looks a good...
and it's so great.
Yeah, it's a great one, Mr. Grinch. Ready?
Yeah, I am ready. So, wait, hang on. I'm not ready. I'm lying.
You're a liar.
I'm absolutely a liar. Where did my shit go?
I don't know. I'm going to go back to the main. While she figures stuff. Oh, now you want me to get there. Okay, let's hear you. Oh, I'm sorry. Ready?
Nope, it's already gone. So I can't tell you exactly who put it up. These lovely people who are getting married are, because I have lost that email. But that officiant is our friend Sean Dyer, who I'm not sure is in the chat room tonight or not. But if you've ever met Sean at a Sigler Fest, or I know Robin Taylor just went to visit, they did their own junkie meetup. He's a lovely, lovely person, and I absolutely understand why these great people would ask him to officiate their wedding. And I just love that smile. And I also love that the groom is the one a little verklempt. It's very nice. I love it.
A little verklempt. A little verklempt.
Sean is here.
Hey, Sean.
It's a gorgeous photo.
Here we go. I want you to know there's no crying of any kind. Mr. Manly Broman here. Never cry. Not one time. Not one time. No. You know what I would like to do? Speaking of not crying, I would like you to take off that necklace so I can show people what I got you for the anniversary.
Where's the? Probably easier for you to do it.
You know what you call it when you're
vamping?
Grandma has a birthday?
Nope.
That's the grandmaversary. You got it?
I do. Let me put this back
and
together
I can
so
use
it doesn't fall apart.
I'll use the phone cam again. What?
Oh, the phone cam giving some people vertigo.
Doing the phone cam dance. Oh, yeah.
All right.
Phone cam. Oh, yeah. Yeah, you know what? Phone cam. Yeah. So this I will share with you guys. I like this. I'm quite pleased with this because I often refer to A as my North Star.
It's true. I don't think you're showing anybody.
Oh, yeah. Well, Don't you people know how to turn things on? Goddamn. Goddamn. Goddamn, you don't know anything. Here we go. See if I can get a good shot of this. I don't think I can. I'm going to have to take a picture and show you guys next week. But what this is a compass. Is that a compass rose, sweetheart? Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
That is a compass rose with
a Celtic knot around the edge.
The Celtic knot around the edge, because, you know, she's amongst the Irish. And in the middle, a little tiny kraken. You can see it right there. So I thought that was the sweetest thing. The sweetest thing to give my sweetest thing, because she is my North Star. And what's more, the whole Krakens thing. We have done that whole thing together.
Yes, we've done so much of that. Robin Hudson, I saw that great photo of your parents. So sweet. I hope they had a great anniversary. And goodness gracious, 59 years, my God. The number of things that they've gone through together. It's such sort of inspiring, and also like, you know, nobody who's together for almost 60 years has every moment of every day be beautiful. And yet they still look at each other like that in the photo that you posted on Facebook today. So congratulations to them for sure.
Yes. Very wonderful. Very wonderful. And now I think we're going to do questions.
No. We have. So we're going to talk a little bit. We have. So we did get from the Vidra Harrises. We did get a Pupdate, but we didn't get a chance to upload it today because we were testing everything, because last week was kind of a shit show. So we didn't. We'll do that next week.
Okay.
So instead, I'll tell you a little bit. So we had a lot of questions. You guys are so nice. We had so much feedback, so many well wishes, such charming messages on Facebook, all the social medias, emails, snail mail, all the things. I had a great birthday. If you guys don't know, yesterday was my birthday, and it was our second wedding anniversary. Scott talks quite freely about being an adult with ADHD, and he said we could get, when he proposed, he said whatever I wanted we could do. We could wait until after the pandemic to have a party. We could get married right away, and I chose to get married on my birthday. Because then there's less for him to remember. So first I'll say this. It was awesome, the number of people who were like, Scott's a smart man.
And to be fair,
you are a smart man.
I'm not that smart. I am not that smart.
But yeah, that was actually my choice. And I even had a handful of people with all the best intentions be like, okay, now I know this is great, but like, you love your birthday, and if anything ever happens, will you be, even if you outlive him, will you be and still married, will you be sad on your birthday if it's also your anniversary? And I don't think that's going to happen. I love my birthday to death, and I had a really nice time. So I was going to tell you, I got this from my beautiful goddaughter, and it says birthday girl on it. And I started my day yesterday, our anniversary and my day, by my birthday, by going to see my friend Mikey, who I've known for 30 years, and he does my hair. He's a stylist, and he's a fantastic friend. And I had... He made time for me, so I had to go in early, and so I was there at 7:30, and I had mimosas, and I had brought this, and I asked him to do my hair in a way that I could wear this, so he did that. And then I came home, and I had a meeting. We are rebuilding our website, and I had a meeting with the people who are doing that for us, and it was about an hour long, and after an hour, they said, do you have any other questions? And I said, no, I think we're pretty good. I have a few things I have to talk to Scott about, blah, 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 blah. Do you guys have any questions? And they said, no, just one thing. And then they sang me happy birthday, because I had never taken this off. So I went into an hour-long professional meeting where they absolutely kept a straight face, and then they sang me happy birthday because I had advertised to them that it was my birthday. And that was great. It was really funny. I was definitely embarrassed, because that seems like, if I'm their client, like, it seemed like a little lot, but it was very fun. They were very happy about it. It was very cute. And then I go upstairs and I tell Scott, this is upstairs. I come up here and I tell Scott, like, oh my God, I'm so embarrassed. Jesus, what am I going to do? And then we have a little lunch together or whatever.
Delightful lunch. We had a delightful lunch.
And then I go, I ship 3 days a week now. I used to ship just once a week during the pandemic, but now I'm back to whatever. So I went out shipping. I went and dropped some stuff off at the electronics recycling.
Yep.
I shipped some things, and I went to the grocery store, and everybody was very smiley, because guess what? I also forgot I was still wearing this. So a lot of people, so right at the end at the grocery store, which is right by our house. And, you guys are the same. You probably go to the same grocery store all the time. So it was somebody I actually know at the grocery store. And she was like, hey, girl, happy birthday, girl. And I realized,
Oh, no.
again. But you know what? If you guys know me, if you've ever been to a Sigler Fest, you know I love to celebrate anything worth celebrating. So I was kind of giving myself a gift by letting people know that it was my birthday and let them enjoy that with me. So it was lovely. And then we had celebrated this past weekend. Go get the goods. On Saturday night, we decided to celebrate on the weekend our anniversary. So I made like a big charcuterie plate. And if you've ever met me, and my friend Maria, who's in the chat room, can confirm, I'm a little overzealous with cheese plates.
It's the best kind of overzealous. Both Maria and A make astonishingly cheese plates of mass.
Or like charcuteries of, yeah. So I got, we had all sorts of stuff. We had
It
cheese
looks like
plate.
Mount Cheeverest is what it looks like.
We had fruit, we had nuts, we had a little bit of caviar even, and I had desserts. But we were so full, we still haven't touched these desserts. So I thought,
can I touch the dessert now?
yes, exactly. So I thought since we're not drinking tonight because we both have to go to work after this, we would enjoy a little anniversary cheesecake together.
Yada da 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 da. That's the dessert song. Yada da 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 da. Yada da 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 da.
Maybe you should eat it. How is it? Let's see.
Put it in my mouth.
Bum, bum.
You wouldn't like it.
So anyway, we had a great
Oh my God.
birthday anniversary. Thank you guys. I am talking to my good friends about how to what to call that day, because birthday anniversary sort of doesn't work anymore. It's 2 years in. We should abbreviate that. We have things to do, you guys. So maybe birth-iversary.
You know what I bet? I bet there's a Klingon word for it.
What would that sound like? Do you know?
Something like that. I'm listening to a book called Kagan the Damned right now, written by our buddy Jonathan Mayberry, and it's fantastic. I think it might be his best work yet. And it's read by
Ray Porter.
Read by Ray Porter, who narrates most of our stuff. And but Jonathan has a lot of all consonant language, like he's got Mixoplix out there typing stuff for him. Mm-hmm. and Ray Porter is reading about Kagan's damned soul, and then the person came out of the forest and said to Kagan, and we're like, and it's
a great book. I finished it already. It's a great book.
It probably looks better on paper than it does sounding, but you just feel for poor Ray. You're like, oh, he's got to look at it like, oh, geez, here we go. All right, let me try this a couple times. And it's very, very, very funny.
We just had that discussion because we don't. We're accidentally reading the same book. And like I said, I was a little bit further ahead and I just finished it. We don't do that. That's not a thing we do. But he mentioned it and I said, oh yeah, I'm reading it too. And then he said that, which is totally true. And today on Facebook, just today on Facebook, there's a group, if you're a fan of Ray Porter, called the 50 Shades of Ray. Mm-hmm. And it's obviously a Ray Porter fan group, and he's active in it. He doesn't run it. Somebody else runs it. But today he posted in there, there was some sort of little game, like roulette game that Audible did with him, where they gave him a subject and an adjective and a verb, I think, and he had to do that voice. And it was like witches who are angry. And so what he did was create on the fly a voice for the witches in Shakespeare's Macbeth. And I thought it was lovely. And so if you guys are a big fan of him, maybe check out that group. But yeah, the all consonant language is
it's hysterical,
hilarious.
It's hysterical.
But the book is so good, you guys.
Super good. All right. Sean asks, am I and Jonathan torturing Ray on purpose? No, I believe I use vowels. I don't know what the hell you're talking about. I use a lot of vowels. All right. It's time. You know what time is, babe?
I don't.
I think it's time for, I understand what I did now. Questions. Oh, we got questions. We got the blue-haired lady from The Simpsons. It's a sister of Marge. And I think she's shoving something up her nose. Oh, yeah.
Okay.
You know what this is? This is the cocaine episode, the very special cocaine episode of The Simpsons, when Bart goes on a crazy bender because his aunt is giving him cut down. She's cutting the Coke with baking soda, and it's just causing Bart to trip balls all the time. And then Bart, it's the one where Bart hallucinates that Big Bird is there, and Big Bird takes his big beak and tears out his intestines and splatters them all across Lisa. And Lisa goes, "Well, I guess I got to write a sad song about intestines now." It's a great episode. I think you guys have all seen it. All right, let's go with the question.
What literary pilgrimages have you ever been on?
So literary pilgrimage would be where I go do something that's in a book or go to an author's home.
Potentially, but I also think, like, I know the thing that I thought of when you said that was your experience with Ancestor, which you haven't talked about in quite a while on the show, which you guys may not have heard. So if you want to talk about that.
So I've done 2 major ones, I think. Not counting 3, I guess. 3 for the rookie for the GFL series. Went to the Pro Football Hall of Fame, which I'd been to as a tiny kid with my dad, which was awesome. It was even more awesome when I went as a grown up. Me and Rob Otto went. It was a blast. And then I, for Earth Core, I did the Mammoth Caves in Kentucky, and that was amazing. Went on a thing called the Wild Cave Tour, or the Wilding Cave. I think it's the Wild Cave Tour, where we were this is like you have to sign waivers to go do this, and it doesn't take a lot of training, but you do have ropes, you have harness, you're doing all this crazy stuff. And I mean, I've told this story many times. There was a place that was so narrow vertically that my skinny ass had to take off my helmet and push it ahead of me, because if I was on my side, the helmet
like
was too much vertical space to fit through. So like I had rock, like it was crazy. Very fun. That really informed Earth Core. Made a better story. And then for Ancestor, I flew to the Keweenaw Peninsula and drove a snowmobile from the airport all the way up to the tip of the Keweenaw Peninsula, stayed up there for a week, and it was just surrounded by snow, and a lot of the imagery you see in Ancestor was garnered from that. Even though I grew up in northern Michigan, it was still it was pretty awesome. If you can see on the very, very tip of the Keweenaw Peninsula, when that water doesn't freeze over almost never, but there were just miles of just chunks of ice floating and bobbing, and it sounded like an ocean of styrofoam. It was so cool, so crazy. It was really great.
And we also, he and I together went on we walked the route that Cooper in Pandemic goes through
in Chicago.
Downtown
That's
Chicago
right.
and by the water and all that stuff. That was a really fun day. It was a little weird because we were taking a ton of pictures and video so that he could, reference it as he was writing spoiler alert, why can't I say that word? Destruction.
Okay. Yep.
That happens at the end of that part of Pandemic. And we got to one space, and they thought we were casing the place. They were like, "Do you need anything else? Can you please leave?" And it was interesting, but it was totally fine. And I think you also, was there something we did, and I can't remember what it was, but when we were in Paris, we went to a cafe, like a famous, writers hangout kind of cafe. And now I can't remember what that is, but if I do, I'll let you know.
We went to was that book? Now that I know it's bullshit. Was that the Shakespeare's bookstore, or the bookstore Shakespeare shopped at?
We've been to Shakespeare's books, but that's not it. There was something else. So if I remember, I'll let you guys know.
All right.
Shannon Bethany, I canceled the order for the 21-inch stuffed Kraken to sit on the bed because I wasn't high the next day. So we don't have that. And I don't think we're going to get that.
Shannon asked if we ever walked around the Nocturnal Rope. Yes. I actually walked it, drove my motorcycle across back when I had a motorcycle. One of the funnest experiences I've ever done as a writer, because I'd been in San Francisco, I'd say 5 to 7 years at that point. So it was home. And I spent an enormous amount. I walked around that city quite a lot. It's just easy to walk around it because it's just a narrow peninsula. And then getting to ride my motorcycle around at 3 in the morning, and everything's dark and foggy, and all those terrible movies you see where San Francisco's so foggy, the killer comes right out of the fog. Like, that's for real.
Yep.
And I get to drive a motorcycle through that, and the beams flashing across everything. It was awesome. I don't know what it's like now, but back then, I'd come from the Detroit area. People kept warning, like, don't be out at night in San Francisco.
You're like,
bro.
I got this.
Don't be out. And I'm like, okay, all right, I'm gonna be very careful, man. I don't want to get my ass whooped. I don't get robbed. And then And then, and then I'm like driving around San Francisco at night into the worst, like the Tenderloin stuff. I'm like, all of these buildings have glass in the windows, and there are no burnt cars blocking the sidewalk, which was a common thing at the time in Detroit. So I felt that I was pretty much okay there.
I will also say, I don't have a link to it right now, but there is a Google map of the original Nocturnal. So if you've heard that, or if you remember that, it might be a little different than Nocturnal now, but there is a Google map that you can walk to a lot of the places that Scott wrote about. What's the diner called? Pine something? No.
Pinecrest Diner, I think?
Pinecrest Diner. And early on in our business, very short version, we met at a con. I said I was a logistician if he ever needed time and help with his calendar or whatever, and he reached out, and I helped him with his calendar, and then we ended up doing the Rookie. So when we were talking about doing the Rookie, I went up to San Francisco to talk about it, and I made him take me to the Pinecrest Diner. So you can do it too, and there's several conversations where Pookie and Brian are sitting at the Pinecrest Diner.
Most of those places are still there. We're going to switch over here, baby, so that I can watch. Somebody said we're getting buffering.
Okay,
so
cool.
Keep an eye on it.
Thank
but
you,
I've
Robin.
got. See, I know phrases like this now. I only have 0.2% dropped frames. The goal is 0 drop frames, but that apparently is pretty good.
Kim Hansen asked why you got rid of your motorcycle. Oh, you already answered it. Sorry.
I did answer it, but I'll answer it here too. Did we make that decision together?
I know. I think you made it because you needed to be whole. You couldn't risk an accident, as I think.
Yeah, and I only rode it on surface streets, city streets. Never. I rode on a highway twice on a motorcycle. Once because somebody told me we weren't going to the highway, and then they did, and I was very angry about that. Second time because I had MapQuest map on my fuselage.
You mean a paper map quest?
Paper map.
Yeah.
I had a magnetic holder I could put a sheet of paper in. That's how high tech I was. So I could ride around, look down, and be like, no problem. This is all cool.
Hey, Shannon.
And then I didn't realize that the shortest possible route put me on the highway till I was already on the on-ramp. And it was very... So anyways, depending on where you live, a motorcycle is just a thing you spend money on, and you don't really use it for transportation. So it's San Francisco. I didn't really play anymore. All right, what other questions we got?
Have you ever thought of writing under a pseudonym?
Oh, yeah, of course. I think most writers have. I haven't checked in with my buddy Jeremy Robinson or other people. I know V.E. Schwab still writes under him. Shannon McGuire writes under several pseudonyms, I think.
Delilah Dawson.
Delilah Dawson
Is
writes
Lila
under several.
Bowen.
Shannon McGuire writes under at least one. I can't remember. I don't know that that's as common anymore, because the reason for it was if you were known as an urban fantasy writer, and then you wanted to go write some grimdark fantasy in a completely different universe, that would not make your publisher happy, because they didn't want to divide or bifurcate your marketplace, and they didn't want to put you on 2 different shelves. And it's a lot of marketing stuff involved with it. And then as people started to do their own thing,
Where is she? Reese, come here. Come on, honey bun.
Reese is scratching up a bed. As people started to get into their own marketing, like for Jeremy Robinson, that became useful too, because independent writers sometimes write at a frequency that is way beyond what the big publishers will put out. So instead of putting out 1 book a year, 1 book every 18 months, which is what Crown wanted to do with me when I was with them, 1 book every 18 months, some of these guys and girls can write 4 books a year. So they put them out, and if they put them out under different pseudonyms, they can do different marketing, and they have different keywords and different genres and all this other stuff. I think the majority of people are writing under their own single name or their established pseudonym, and then they job out parts of their books to other people, and then they share writing, or they co-write with other people. So the biggest reason we couldn't do it is because I podcast everything.
Yep.
So there was, at one point I had 5 full novels that had not been bought or released, and I'm like, this would be sweet if I could put this out under a different name. Turns out I already podcast everything as Scott Sigler to give everything free to you guys. So we were like, can't do it, not going to do it. So there you go. That's the answer.
Shannon, I mentioned I got this lovely gift from my goddaughter, so I figured I'd wear it today because I was telling birthday stories. David Lamb asked a great question. Would you ever write a fantasy novel like Mayberry's done?
You're goddamn right. I already have it planned out. I know what I want to write. I know the whole concept. It's just a matter of getting through the next 7 books I have now, and then probably addressing a couple of sequels, so maybe 9 books. And then and I think when I start to write, though, I have to grow a real long-ass beard. I have to have stew every day Every single day, got to have some stew. And so yes, I want to write it. My favorite fantasy writer is Joe Abercrombie, who does super, super dark stuff, but is really good at doing that, pedestrian working class humor. So one of the hallmarks of his work is Game of Thrones was almost all these very fancy, famous, powerful people, and a lot of the characters you read about in Joe Abercrombie stuff are the people down in the trenches doing the dirty work. And I'm a big fan of that style. So what I have plans to do a fantasy series, somewhat along that particular style, but I can't tell you the name of it because the name is so cool. And if I tell you the name, somebody's going to steal it. It happens all the time.
I will let you guys in on a little inside empty set secret. He just said if he's going to write a fantasy novel, he's going to have to grow a long beard and eat stew every day. I confess I am not good at reading fantasy. I'm not good at it. I try. I've tried a whole bunch of them, but I really, really loved Kagan the Damned. And like I said, we found out we were both reading it. And I told him, I was like, I'm really enjoying this. So I'm not sure what the issue is. Is it that I need to read sort of violent fantasy? But I've tried Game of Thrones 80,000 times and I can't do it. I'm not sure why I don't. And he says, because the one thing I flippin' hate is in fantasy novels, there's stew in every frickin' pub, every frickin' tavern. There's always a pot of stew. It's been there for an indeterminate age. And everybody talks about it. And then you get whatever your stein of mead or whatever it is. And I'm like, what? Okay, why is there no salads? Is there no salads in fantasy? Is there nothing but stew that's been there for 60 years? I hate it. And so I'm saying, like, I'm really enjoying this book and I'm thrilled. Maybe I need to figure out what this fantasy book is different. And he's like, there's not, at least for me, there's not been one mention of stew yet. And I have finished the book. And tiny spoiler that doesn't matter to anybody but me, never talks about stew. Never. So I love it. I love it. I love it.
All right. Next question. I didn't see any in the chat, but I wasn't, I'm not very good at looking at that. I'm already thinking ahead to the words that I have to put in particular orders for all of you people after this show.
I'm trying to not do spoilers today.
All right. No spoilers today.
Kim, who's in the chat room, has sent so many great questions. I'm going to try and find one of those.
Stupendous, Steve. Ricky Boy.
Stupendous.
Plus 10 experience points. Very nice.
Kim asks, what do you know now that you wish you'd known at the beginning of your writing or publishing journey?
That is a solid question. It's first of all, my memory's not that good, so I got to think back to that. It's hard to say simply because the writing business is completely different than it was even 5 to 7 years ago. And that was a iterative of evolution from where it was 5 to 7 years before that. And I've been writing seriously for about 20 years. So the stuff I would tell myself when I started out would not be the same stuff I would tell myself if I started out today.
Sure.
I got a little cheesecake kiss. Sorry. So, honestly, I don't have a whole lot. I've worked real hard, written a whole bunch of stuff. I think being able to tell younger writers to just calm down, relax. This is a long game. Writing is a marathon, not a sprint. Try not to put stress on your tender inner organs by getting worked up because you didn't get this publishing deal, you didn't get that.
Yep, that's a big one.
Try to not read reviews. If it's a 5-star review, read it. If it's a review in the friggin' Times, just avoid it. I would say, I had a good one. And then I would say the biggest thing to tell people now is learn how to market. Become a student. Yeah. Become a student of the game of marketing books. Understand that changes month to month, and if you are lucky enough to sign a big deal with a big publisher, one of the big five. Read that contract very carefully, because the second you aren't selling at a level they need you to sell, they lose all interest in you. And they still put out your books, and they're still delightful people, and they do a great job packaging the book, but they're not going to put any money, they're not going to put any effort into marketing you because there's somebody 5 years younger than you who's coming along, and they like to market that stuff. So that's the biggest thing. Yeah.
When we first started working together, we went to a handful of like O'Reilly conferences and writer conferences and things like that. He's been to many more than I have, of course, as a writer. But there were a few things that I found very useful as the creative adjacent, the non-writer, non-creative person. One, nobody who's actually going to publish your book is going to ask you to pay for anything. So
Correct.
if you're a writer out there, you guys know this already, but if you're a creative person out there and somebody wants to help make your art, your creativeness bigger, or maybe sell it, they will never, if they're legitimate, ask you to pay for anything. So if they do, they are not going to do what they say they're going to do. Number two, he always says, he did this, but he tells a lot of writers, don't make a website and a platform for your book. Make it for you. Because even if, like he is writing the GFL, and he's been writing the GFL since he was 6 years old, he's still writing the GFL. But if his site had been a GFL site, it would be hard to market Nocturnal. It would be hard to market Ancestor, things like that. Mm-hmm. And three, I would say this from I also have my first husband was a musician, and I will say this is very important. Anybody who signs a contract with you, you're going to contract for the product that you're doing. And it's very rare, very, very rare. But sometimes the contract will have something called a sunset clause in it. And a sunset clause says, if this book makes you famous, we get whatever, first right of refusal, we get to bid on that, whatever. All of that is bullshit. So if you can afford to have an attorney look at your stuff, it's worth the $500 an hour to do that, or whatever it is. And specifically an IP attorney. That's not exactly the heart of that question, but I figured this was a good place to say that in case any of you guys are aspiring creatives.
And the last thing I'll say is what I wish I knew then that I know now is no one gives a shit but you. And from before that book goes out to people, yes, you have editors who work very hard and care, and you got agents and editors who will maybe find you, discover you. But at the end of the day, those people are going to spend their time in that phase of your career, and then they're largely going to move on. Yeah. The only person out there banging it every day is going to be you. So you got to be your own boss, and you got to understand, if you want to have a career as a creative, a long career as a creative, you're the only person who's gonna drive that cart at some point. So you got to. That's just to get it in your head. And if you get lucky and you have somebody else involved, that's great. But it's probably not going to happen. Next question.
Do you try to be more original or give readers more of what they already want?
It's a 50-50. Let's
ask
we'll ask that question next.
Sure.
My favorite underscore. Favorite.
Yeah.
What was the question again?
This is what's like. Do you try to be more original? Yeah, it is like this.
It's like in my head all day, guys. This is all day long.
Do you try to be more original or to deliver to readers what they want?
It's a little bit of both, but a lot of writers, unless you happen to write The Hunger Games, right? And she did very, very different things throughout her career, and then she had one who just struck lightning on a powder keg, coined that phrase, and you build up a fan base that follows you because of your style. And they may have some personal connection to you as well. You may be on social media, and whatever you do takes those people away from their daily problems. And there's a relationship. Your constant reader is a relationship. So you don't want to, I think when you look at having a long career like we have established, and it looks like we'll be able to continue that career, you only have that career if you're taking care of your customer, and your customer is your fans. Mm-hmm. So you've got to give them something. You got to have some level of consistency, and hopefully that's not an affectation, because if you are writing, your style is what drew them in, you keep doing the thing that you do, everything should be fine. But writers do get bored sometimes. Sure. And there's a couple, I got a couple won't pop into my head right now, but writers get bored, write a 10-book series that's hugely popular, be like, great, now I'm going to go write something else. And they will switch from, urban fantasy to modern military. And that is jarring for a lot of readers. Your hardcore people might stay with you, but that's the biggest thing. So if you try to surprise readers too much, you can lose a lot of those readers. And the thing that we've learned is, once a reader goes away, they're gone. I for the most part, if you pick up a book by an author that you love and you're like, I didn't like that book, I didn't like that, by the second book they're usually gone. By the third book they're gone.
Yeah, for sure.
This is a product business. This is not an art. This is a business. As soon as you try and take money for the thing that you do, you are in business. And in business, you have to pay attention to your customers. Then there you go.
For sure. And I will also add this as a consumer of creativity, not a purveyor. There's an author, I will not name her, but you guys might know I read or listen while I'm doing like daily chores and stuff. I listen to like sassy young detective women novels. They're all mystery thrillers and convoluted and pablum and nice and easy, and I love them. There's one author who's in this genre, and I won't read another one of her books, even though she's wildly famous and she's good at her job, because in the stories that I love, there are things that are too much for me. They're just overwhelming for me. They're too triggering for me. I don't want to live in a world where that could happen, so I can't read her anymore, and I find that fascinating because. If I could get my head around more fantasy, well, they could do all sorts of magic shit or murderous shit, because that's not my real world. But I can't seem to get it done. So, anyway, I thought I'd share that. So, your favorite underscore asks, for your fantasy novel, are there locations where you are drawing inspiration from?
Honestly, most fantasy fiction I've read, and I'm not widely read in the genre, the locations are all the same. Everybody's got Northmen. Mm-hmm. Some people have Southerners. Mm-hmm. It's always it's always the same stuff. Almost always they're coming from a small village and they go to a big city of 10,000 people and see buildings they didn't even imagine could be so tall. And somewhere in most of the stories, including Jonathan's, there's a 79-story tower in the middle of nowhere. Mm-hmm. So settings wise, no, I'm not really drawing a lot. And like I say, I like the visceral grimdark stuff. And a battle in a muddy wooded field is a battle in a muddy wooded field throughout time. That never ever changes. So no, but that being said, my location is super cool. And the location is actually one of the central points of the whole series. So hopefully I'll get to write it. Hopefully you guys will get to figure that out.
Let's see. If you have any more questions, put them in the chat room. We have a few more minutes. I'm just going to go through my ongoing list.
Okay.
What is your current favorite musical artist?
God, there's so many of them. One of my favorite bands, Band-Maid. Mm-hmm. They're 5 women from Japan who dress up like maids and rock the F out. They're coming to San Diego. But the tickets were like $230, and I'm like, I'm not paying $230 to catch COVID. Not going to happen. So
much so that he texted me, listen, Bandmaid's coming. I know you will find out. I do not want to go.
I had to let her know, so I thought it surprised me. Chris Grell says, infantry dudes are always infantry dudes. Exactly. Mm-hmm. So that goes back to the fantasy thing. Other favorite bands, I just there's too many to count. I just rediscovered King's X. I found out I didn't have any of them in my Spotify. Yeah.
I think recently you have changed the music you listen to when you write a little bit.
Yeah, I go to Spotify and I search for dark classical or evil classical. So there's a lot of stuff, big scores in minor keys, slow, whole notes. And so there's nothing like that. No matter what the music is now, if it's got lyrics in it, I can't listen to it while I write.
Yeah, that's how I am doing any work at all. I can't listen to something because if it has lyrics and I know them, then I start to sing them and I don't do the work. And if I don't know them and I like the song, then I try to figure out the lyrics. And then if it's a song I don't know and I don't like it, I just skip forward. So I end up only listening to songs with lyrics I don't know that I like, and I can never do it. Sean has asked a couple of times, so I don't want to miss it. Are there any herbivores in the GFL Aris species?
I'm sure there are many, many millions.
Hey, Jude.
Are you talking about the major species? No, I don't think so. I do not believe that sentience can develop from a herbivore. I think
can't have big brains. I don't think
it makes. I know it. I understand. I've been told it makes it harder to have a big brain. The biggest problem in my theory of developing sentience, there's a couple of factors to it. Number one is you'll never see like a tiger man who's got big tiger claws and he can kill everything he finds, and then he goes home and he builds a teepee. Like, you're not going to find that because when you're the king of the jungle, you don't need to evolve anymore. And animals with lots of heavy weaponry, big predators, aren't going to do it. So what you wind up with is something that replicates what happened to us, is these little things that are both predator, that are omnivores, and specifically are prey. Mm-hmm. So prey animals, to me, are the ones that are always going to evolve closer to sentience because they have to figure the most stuff out. And at some point, if this thing that has some dexterous appendage, some way, there's two things. There's making a tool, and then there's figuring out clothing. As soon as you make a tool and figure out clothing, you can radiate outside of your zone of comfort, and you can survive environments you would not be able to survive without those two things. And as soon as that happens, Kate, it's all over but the crying.
Yep.
Then they invent weapons and can kill the predators trying to kill them. The game's already over. It's only a matter of time.
Great. Yeah, that's terrific. John Bivens asks, are there any lampshade adventures coming up? So I will tell you, we still stay pretty close to home because we're still in a pandemic, even if we're not allowed to talk about it, but we are. And so we stay close to home because we have some travel coming up, going to a family wedding in a couple of weeks. I'm not sure yet if we will have a show on the 13th of July. It's possible we won't. If we do, it's almost assuredly in office hours because we won't be here in this room. But we'll figure that out. But I'm sure on that trip there will be lampshades. And then we also have a trip for a writing retreat, which was somebody else's question. Have you ever been on a writing retreat?
Well, the ancestor trip was supposed to be a writing retreat. I won't get into that story right now. Have I ever been on a writing retreat?
There was the secret Mission of Doom when you were when Scott wrote Infected, and it did very well. Random House asked him to move up the timeline for Contagious. I didn't know him then, but I was a fan then, and I remember this. And he called it the Secret Mission of Doom, the SMOD, and before Smodcast, which is interesting and unrelated. But he went and did a writing retreat to Yosemite, where he got like a cabin that was not very internet friendly, and so he would have to focus, and he actually did finish. He had at the time his father-in-law was dying.
I wrote a lot of that in the hospital.
Yeah, so he had this huge pressure to get it done.
It sucked.
And that was part of that. So I know you did the Secret Mission of Doom.
Mm-hmm.
And then last summer we had, you guys have heard this, our co-host on Story Smack, Rob Otto, he came out for a week and they sat at the kitchen table downstairs every day starting at 8:30 in the morning, and they worked from 8:30 to 6:30
that was a writing retreat, to
write a screenplay. And then we would take an hour for dinner, and then at 9 o'clock we would watch a relevant movie to what they were working on. And it was the most intense the most focused I have literally ever seen Scott when he was writing. It was fantastic.
We got another one of those coming up. So
we do have another one in August of those.
coming up.
And it is possible that we'll miss a couple of these then too.
Rob and I are trying to pull some Machiavellian bullshit. All right, we got some angles, we got a plan, we know a guy. That's what we're working on right now. Angles, plans, we know a guy.
So we had one other. Let's see. Scroll up a little bit. There was another question.
Chris had to talk about his dexterous appendage.
Oh yeah. How is the process of rewatching the Marvel Cinematic Universe movies going for us? And I'll start. I will say, if you guys don't know this, we are together watching the 34 movies in the MCU. I've seen 5 of them. He's seen probably 25 or 30 of them. Mm-hmm. So I think it's going great. It's super fun. Saturday night when we had our anniversary celebration with the big cheese plate, we watched Winter Soldier, or the rest of Winter Soldier anyway, because it takes us a couple of days, maybe 3 days to get through.
That's a very Winter Soldier, the most comic booky of the movies that I have seen, at least at that point in the Marvel chronological. And I don't remember anything that came after that was more comic booky, but because it was a lot of like the direct superheroes fighting superheroes, and then Marvel kind of gets away from like, here's an army of 1,000 things, go beat the crap out of all the 1,000 things, and that gets a little tired as Age of Ultron and everything moves on. So Captain America and the Winter Soldier was just awesome. It was like reading a graphic novel from back in the day. Loved it. And
for me, I have seen a couple of the movies that we've seen so far. I think Winter Soldier might be movie number 6 or 7 in the MCU. We're watching in universe chronological order. So I'm not sure when they came out in our world, but in that universe, it's sort of the 6th or 7th one. And before that comes a Hulk movie and also Iron Man 3, which were
we still haven't watched the Hulk movie. Iron Man 3 is not my favorite movie.
So we had already seen, both of us individually had already seen the Hulk, that first Hulk, and we agreed to just not watch, to pretend we've already done that. But we did watch all of Iron Man 3, which he had seen before and sort of knew was not going to be terrific.
No, Civil War was good too.
My goodness, it's so terrible, you guys. If you ever do this, lean in. Know that Iron Man 3 is going to stink. And Pepper Potts' wig is the worst thing I've ever seen. It's the worst thing I've ever seen.
Iron Man 3 is a good movie to get to have
worst
drinks.
wig I've ever seen.
Get drinks, get popcorn. Don't be shy. Don't be shy about the alcohol. And, just lean into it because there's great stuff in it, but overall. And then we just watched, last night, we just finished Guardians of the Galaxy.
We did, which was super fun.
I enjoyed the second time I watched it infinitely more than the first time I watched it. I was never a Guardians of the Galaxy guy. I think when it first came out, I was busy shitting on Marvel. Like, dude, how far deep into the lower tiers of characters are you going to go? Turns out, watch that movie. Awesome screenplay. A lot of the writing style is similar to what I try and accomplish. Great comic relief, great humor. The whole thing was. Turns out, I don't think that's a PG movie. No, in addition to all the violence, when Gamora goes, "This ship is filthy," and Peter's like, "Oh, you don't even know. Bring a blacklight in here to look like a Jackson Pollock painting." I was like, "Whoa, Marvel, jizz jokes. What? Okay, Marvel. You can talking about sperm everywhere jokes. Go for it, bro. It's good for you, man."
So next up is Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, which
is that up right away?
That's right next to it in universe.
Oh, sweet. Okay.
And then Avengers: Age of Ultron. Those are the next two in order. So we'll let you know. We'll keep you posted.
I absolutely adore Guardians of the Galaxy now. The second time I saw it, I'm like, this is freaking fantastic. So.
And generally, I think we are going to be watching Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Like I said, we're doing sort of in-universe chronological order. So right now, it's still big movies. But I know like Miss Marvel is in there. There's a handful of things that are
Nelson,
in there.
You're right. Nelson says Thor: The Dark World is rough. It is amongst the roughest. But then if you watch Thor: The Dark World, then you get to watch the Jeff Goldblum Thor. Then you get to watch Ragnarok. Yeah. Okay. Ragnarok is so fun. So fun.
We only have a minute or two left, but Broncanus on YouTube asks, "I'm on a huge Lincoln Child kick right now. What is one of your favorite novels of his? I'm reading Terminal Freeze right now, and that shit stank."
Relic. I still go back to Relic. Relic is, Lincoln Child helped my career quite a bit. The blurb on the front of Earth Core, which I have handy, don't get it, it's okay. But they had put out Relic, and I think that was it. And that this sounds ridiculous. The internet was still relatively new back then. So I reached out to those guys, I think from their website, and I'm like, "Hi, I'm an aspiring author, and I was wondering if you would read my novel and, maybe give me a blurb. It would really help things out." And Lincoln Child said, "Sure, why not?" And wait, the story goes in interesting places. So they do that, and I'm sure they just skimmed through it because the writing was not very good. I get that a lot when I read newer writer stuff. I'm like, "Oh, you're a baby Groot of a writer. It's going to be 5 to 10 years before you're a big old grown-up Groot who can write something that I want to read all the way through." And he gave me a blurb, and I was able to use that blurb to get a book reading at Borderlands Books. And then Borderlands Books started to carry my book because I had a book reading there. Well, that was also from the podcast. But having Lincoln Child, I think it's Earth Core is more exciting than any not as thriller as a right to be. Having that on my cover was huge because it was a very small but important step to get people like, "Oh shit, Lincoln Child likes your stuff. All right, cool. I mean, I'll give it a try." So that was great. And then I thought Relic was great. And then I was the king of the assholes. The king of the assholes. I then read, of course, I waited for Reliquary to come out because Jurassic Park and Relic were the benchmarks for me. You can write good horror with real-ish science. You don't need ghosts and goblins and whatnot. So then I read Reliquary, and I did not agree with the science in Reliquary. So I wrote them a letter. I wrote them a letter.
What?
I wrote them a letter with all of the complaints I had.
Did you send it?
Oh, of course.
Oh, come on.
What? I'm sorry. I wrote them an email. I wrote them a sternly worded email about how I did not like their use of vitamin D and how that would clearly not ever happen in the catacombs of New York City. Just like I put on my varsity sweatshirt that day and it said asshole, right? That's the college I went to, is Pompous Asshole University. And then they wrote back, and they write back like now. I'm at the same point in my career and age they were then, I think, right about the same ballpark. Now I get an angry letter from people who didn't like your book. Your goddamn book is so stupid. I can't believe you did this and this and there. And I wrote back like, "Sorry, I didn't dig it, man. Hopefully you'll dig the next one. But thanks for giving my stuff a roll." And that solves every problem. And they basically did exactly the same thing to me. They wrote back like, "Well, we thought those ideas were pretty good. And some of them landed for you, some of them didn't. But, thank you." And then when I got that response from them and I read it, that was when I went back and read my email in the context of like it made me reread it. I'm like, holy crap, I'm an asshole. So I tell you all that. The end of the story is these guys were so kind, so patient, and took time they did not have to help out someone they did not know. And then someone sent them a request for a blurb, and they wrote back, we don't think we can blurb this. It's not quite ready yet. And then they started getting death threats for not giving a blurb. And they were both like,
that is uncool.
Peace out. They're like, we're not, you talk to my agent, bro. I don't talk to nobody. So there's the Lincoln Child book. But I still think Relic is exceptional. I think I read everything up through the ice limit.
Okay.
But what happened is they started to get like, the guy who wrote Coma, I can't remember his name. They started to get like, they settled into Pendergrast and the supporting crew. And then after 4 novels where everybody gets in a bunch of trouble and they always wind up coming out, there was no suspense for me. So my own personal style of reading is I have to know the characters are actually in danger. If they keep getting in danger and getting out of danger over and over again, I'm not going to buy the next book because I already know how it ends.
Right.
So that is that. But they're awesome dudes.
So we're past 7 p.m., so we're going to go because we both have to go back to work after this. I do want to say a couple more things.
I would say the Ice Limit, Bronconus, and I know they wrote a sequel to it, but Ice Limit is the very end of Ice Limit. To tell you the truth, I'll go back, mate. I thought it was a little dumb. I was like, these guys just did all this research and just flexing and just showing stuff off. Not that it's bad, but they're like, we did all this research and we're going to show you. I'm like, you guys don't need, there's so much going on here. And it might be a little fat there. I'm not saying that. But when I got to the very end of the book and the big reveal came out in the Ice Limit, it was awesome. Made everything totally worth it. So that is my other favorite Douglas Preston Lincoln Child book.
So we have 3 more things and then we're out of here. As I mentioned, we have travel in July and travel in August, and we will figure it out, but it's possible that there's not going to be a SIGLER-in-Place on July 13th, which is 2 weeks from today. We'll know that. We will have next week. Next week is July 6th, and we will be here for that. Second thing is...
shit. I got that wrong. Okay, so yeah.
That's okay.
Wednesday, July 6th is Fried Chicken Day, y'all.
International Fried Chicken
International
Day.
Fried Chicken. So there's a Korean chicken place right down the road. I think we should get some takeout.
We are definitely going to do that.
So you should get some fried chicken, and you should eat it while we eat it, and everybody eats it together, which sounds naughty, but it's not. Get your mind out of the gutter. Yeah.
Second thing I wanted to say is we have this day and one more day tomorrow left in what is Pride Month. And if it is, you haven't thought about that and don't know that it's Pride Month, that is a privilege because and especially if you're an American, because Pride this is a particularly hard Pride Month. So remember that love is always better than no love. All love is love. And we are absolutely allies. I just wanted to acknowledge that because I've been trying to wear colors every pride colors, rainbow colors every SIGLER-in-Place, but I decided I'd wear this today instead of my pride headdress. And then third, I want you to know Saturday, I want to remind you, Saturday night, starting at 4 p.m. Pacific time, Steve, the Iceberg Rickyberg, runs the SIGLER Happy Hour. I'll be there this Saturday in and out for quite a while because I've missed the last 2 and I don't want to miss another one. And now we can roll on our...
Don't want to miss a thing. Until then, we want you to stay safe.
We absolutely need you to stay smart.
And we want you to... No, sorry.
Yep.
Wait, did I get that wrong? Yeah, okay, I got it wrong.
Yeah,
We've only done this 98 times, possibly 198 times. But you know what? Stay smart.
Absolutely stay smart and
for the
stay
love
science.
And for the love of science, you goddamn sons of bitches. Throwing me off my script. You shouldn't be throwing me off my script. We want you to stay informed. Let's go back to the moneymaker cam. All right, here we go. And now I gotta get set up.
If you have anything to share for SIGLER-in-Place next week or this summer, info at emptyset.
Until then, you can all kiss off into the sky.